Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Karin Helmstedt.
Hi there, and welcome to our highlights of the past week, which this time around included these and other stories. On the runway, a young Romanian designer debuts at Berlin Fashion Week. Night moves in Hamburg. Complete strangers can swap apartments. Medieval break. Ancient villages in Italy are being restored and turned into vacation resorts. Well, his exploits defy reason and seemingly the limits of human capacity. Guillaume Néry of France is one of the world's best free divers and a former world record holder who hit depths of an amazing 117 meters without an oxygen tank. Well, in his later career, he's now focused more on underwater filmmaking, and so we caught up with him and his partner to talk about their latest efforts.
Images that show the beauty of an extreme sport, one that's always overshadowed by the specter of death. Barely a season goes by without a free diver dying. But for the creators of the film Narcos, free diving is simply the most amazing sport there is.
We're trying to have another point of view to what freediving is. We are not showing records or deep diving. We're trying to emphasize on the beauty of the sport.
Here in Nice, on France's Mediterranean coast, free divers Julie Gauthier and Guillaume Néry prepare for today's shoot with stretching and breathing exercises. At 100 meters below the water's surface, lungs shrink to the size of 2 oranges.
Do a lot of breathing exercise, a lot of stretching exercise in order to accept this pressure. The key of deep free diving is to relax and accept. If you fight against the pressure, you're going to feel the pain and it's going to be uncomfortable and you can hurt yourself.
The two free divers have been a couple for several years, having met through their sport. They branched out into filmmaking 4 years ago, with their first video, Free Fall. Inspired by base jumping videos, it shows Guillaume Néry's free fall in Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas.
Guillaume was in the Bahamas for the competition, and we had this camera, and he said, oh yeah, we have a good camera, we should make a movie. He said, okay, yeah, just take the camera. And we made Free Fall, that we have now 18 million views. It's just crazy.
Their internet fans financed the couple's next project. Narcos was made more or less on their own doorstep, here in the Bay of Villefranche-sur-Mer and in the mountains near the Côte d'Azur. The short film deals with the hallucinations that free divers can have on very deep dives. The classic rapture of the deep, caused by nitrogen narcosis. Once, Guillaume had a vision of marrying his girlfriend.
Visions and the narcosis and the rapture of the depths are not always funny. Sometimes it's kind of scary, and when I'm a bit anxious before the dive, it can be a nightmare down there.
Today they're doing test shots for new videos. Julie Gauthier has always been fascinated by the rapture of the deep, though she's never experienced it herself. It's especially strong during dives of 90 meters or more. During their shoots, great depths don't play a role. Here it's about their collaboration underwater, and how the lack of heavy diving equipment makes it special.
You have a freedom of movement underwater. Julie, when she's filming me, she can follow me up and down. She can go at the same speed. She can turn around me. And freediving, the sports freediving is freedom. So filming on freediving is filming with freedom.
After the test shots, the couple head back to their apartment on the outskirts of Nice, where their 2-year-old daughter Melu awaits them. This season, Guillaume is taking a break from competitions and world record attempts. One reason for that is the death last year of an American freediver. The couple want to use the time for more film projects.
So if we expect too much, we're going to be disappointed. So no expectation, even if deep inside of our mind we are like, we hope it's going to be successful again.
Narcose has been screened at various festivals and can now be viewed online too. The couple are also uploading a video they shot in the underwater world of French Polynesia.
Well, twice a year, Berlin Fashion Week sees a raft of designers, both new and established, flock to the German capital. And last year, junior designer Ioana Ciolacu from Romania won the coveted Designer for Tomorrow prize. And as part of that award, she also got to have her own show at Fashion Week. And so we went to see her brand new collection and how that award has given her career a welcome boost.
Romanian designer Ioana Ciolacu at a fitting for her debut fashion show in Berlin. Ciolacu calls her collection Hunters, and its 25 designs reflect the interaction between hunter and prey. The cornerstone of this collection was laid a year ago when Ciolacu won the Designer for Tomorrow prize at Berlin Fashion Week.
Actually, it's 1 year and 5 days. Yes, yeah, I remember, of course, it was my first big fitting and it was hectic because we kept switching models. And I mean, it's the same now, but it's more relaxed because I already have the experience, so I'm more relaxed.
1 year ago, Ciolacu was one of 5 finalists for the Designer for Tomorrow award, chosen from a pool of 350 applicants. British fashion designer Stella McCartney was the competition's patron. And in the end, McCartney and the panel of fashion experts chose Ciolacu and her Paradox collection as the winner.
She just really sort of had a great point of view and a lovely silhouette, quite architectural, quite statement, but at the same time quite wearable. And I think that's kind of what I'm looking for in these kind of things. Somebody that's really new in the way that they approach design, but also at the same time somebody that you feel you want to wear.
The award provided Ciolacu with financial support and assistance in establishing her own label. She's now opened her own studio in the Romanian capital, Bucharest. Ciolacu accompanied McCartney and her team when they put on a show at Paris Fashion Week. And she visited the British designer at her studio in London.
It wasn't any more advices regarding design, which she knows best, because I think that she thinks that I'm prepared already. So yeah, it was more of an industry input, how business works. That's why I visited her studio, because I opened my studio. So I wanted to know what's the the level of how many people are they, how they work, how do they manage everything. So that was more important.
Designer for Tomorrow winners also get the chance to stage their own show at Berlin Fashion Week. The models, the PR, the help backstage, they've all been organized for Ioana Ciolacu. The young designer hopes to take the fashion world by storm from her headquarters in Bucharest. She plans to produce her collection in Romania as well. It's her way of supporting her country's economy and ensuring good quality. European clothing store chain Peek and Kloppenburg Düsseldorf has been sponsoring the Designer for Tomorrow competition since 2009. The patron of this year's competition is the American designer Tommy Hilfiger. Ciolacu's show kicks off the finale. And there's still time for her to enjoy the attention and support that's on offer before she has to stand on her own 2 feet.
There has been a lot of emotions for me. I never had so many emotions in my life because of the winning and the preparations before, and now you know, again with the show, again the same feelings. But I was grown up really good, so now I have the power to be on my own, I guess.
After the show, Ioana Ciolacu is ready to launch her career as an independent designer. She's no longer a designer for tomorrow. She's creating fashions for today.
Well, it's a pretty odd concept to think of giving your house keys over to a complete stranger and then letting them spend the night in your private quarters. But that is indeed the idea behind the Hotel Hamburg. Happening in the month of July as an art project, it's designed to give Hamburgers a totally random, brand new perspective on their own city. And so we went to see how it works.
A key rack. A bellhop. Long hallways. And a reception desk. At first, it would appear to be the classic hotel lobby. But it's just a mock-up, built in a project room in Hamburg's University Quarter. The lobby is the hub of an art project titled Hotel Hamburg. The concept lets participants take a holiday in someone else's apartment in Hamburg in exchange for letting others stay in theirs. It aims to make art a hands-on experience.
I don't have to book an expensive tour to travel. I can travel in my own city. And traveling via the Hotel Hamburg costs nothing. But that doesn't mean you can have a good time at the Hotel Hamburg for free. You have to open your own apartment to others from Hamburg.
Most people might not go for that, but there are other apartments available for sharing, like in the Neustadt district, home of Hamburg's most famous church, St. Michael's, the historical grocer's apartments, or Kreienkamp, and the hip Gängeviertel quarter. This is where the 32-year-old graphic artist Lana Bragina lives. It's a rare opportunity for her to spend the night in a strange apartment, even if she has to let a stranger stay in hers. Who's her ideal guest?
It would be someone like me, a girl about the same age. I think that would be the best.
She's a little nervous about her cat, which will have to stay behind with the unknown guest. To keep the cat from jumping out the window, she recommends that the new tenant just tilt it. It costs nothing to check into the Hotel Hamburg, except maybe some trust. There's no insurance, only the most basic information.
How do you get to the apartment from the front entrance?
It's on the 4th floor. My name is on the doorbell.
The only security deposit the participants have to provide is their name and address. And they're ready to start their holiday. The Hotel Hamburg even has bellhops to bring the guests to their rooms. As it happens, Lana Bragina's suite for tonight is only a 10-minute drive from her own apartment in this historic high-rise. But finding the right apartment among so many is not that easy.
It's pretty dark in here. And rather small.
The view from the 8th floor is some compensation. To Lana, it's like a voyage of discovery, with a touch of mystery, since she knows nothing about the tenant.
Everything here tells a story. They refer to a certain individual. It's very interesting because I don't know her, but she's still allowed me in here. That's part of the game.
The rules of the game apply the other way round as well. The unknown guest in Lana Bragina's flat is a 24-year-old student, Marie-Therese Jesse. Poking around unobserved in a stranger's apartment is part of the attraction for her, too.
I know people take a peek at others' bookcases now and then, but snooping into every nook and cranny is something you wouldn't usually do. It's interesting to find out who this is, so I think it's really a good thing.
Not only can they explore a stranger's apartment, but a strange neighborhood as well. Lana has even run into some friends. She's not completely unfamiliar with the area, but she's discovering new parts of it.
I've really never been here before. It's so nice to see Hamburg from a new perspective. I'd like to trade my apartment for a stay in a house someday. Maybe next time.
Lana brought along her camera too, just like on a real holiday. She's seen lots of new sights thanks to the Hotel Hamburg. And she's already looking forward to her next trip through her hometown.
Well, one of the things that foreigners love about Europe is the abundance of quaint little villages, places that make you feel like you've gone back in time. And while they might be a lot of fun to visit, it's quite another thing to live in such a forgotten, out-of-the-way place. Well, in Italy, scores of villages were actually threatened with dying out until people came up with some clever schemes to capitalize on the quaintness.
In 1987, Monte Gridolfo was all but deserted. This is the mountain village today. The regional government and Italian fashion designer Alberta Ferretti spent some 13 million euros to turn a medieval palace into a 4-star hotel. The investment has helped save the village from becoming a ghost town.
Restoration projects like this are very costly because you have to respect and preserve the village's history. Fortunately, most of the tourists who come here are not looking for tourist attractions, and only a minority want a package tour kind of thing.
The grotto is now a restaurant. The former orangery is the breakfast room. And the court garden now has a pool. Modern amenities set in medieval ambiance are especially attractive to foreign visitors.
Everything is so fast and you have to work hard and have all these hobbies and friends and do everything in short time. And here is like no time. You can just do everything very peaceful or on your own pace. So I think that's why, to just get out of the everyday fuss.
The quaint town of Verrocchio is another place for a holiday in medieval surroundings. Here, centuries-old houses have been remodeled as lodgings and restaurants. Guests can take an active part in village life. The idea came from an initiative called Albergo Diffuso, or Scattered Hostels, founded in 1982. 83 similar projects have been launched around Italy. Another example is the Case Antiche, antique houses. A night here costs 350 euros.
We weren't allowed to alter the house's appearance or install any new doors or windows. Those were conservation order requirements. And that made the work on this village and this house rather complicated. The value of the house reflects our investment, because it costs quite a lot to restore something like this.
The medieval holiday model is often worth the investment. In 2007, the Italian village Castelfalfi lay in ruins. Only 5 people lived in the small town just west of Florence. German travel company TUI bought the 11 square kilometers around the village and invested some 250 million euros. A second hotel is just opened for business. Here, only the facade is medieval. The interior is entirely modern.
Most investors buy up the village and strip away its identity. They don't care about the villages like Albergo Diffuso would. They just turn them into tourist villages. Foreign investors think in these categories as well. They don't care about the village like one of the residents would.
But it doesn't have to be that way. 25 people now live in the village of Monte Gridolfo. Most local residents found work at the hotel. These are jobs that help ensure the future of their community.
These jobs are really important to us. The more visitors come and the better they feel, the more tourism we'll have and the more jobs for local people. Everything is changing. There was nothing here before. It was just a small town and deserted. Now we've got life here again. So it's a very fundamental change.
A vacation in the Middle Ages can be just an investment. Or, with a little more respect, it can also be a dream come true for both locals and tourists.
Well, German basketball player Dirk Nowitzki is a superstar in the U.S., but when he comes home to Germany, he does tend to slip back into his role of boy next door in his hometown of Würzburg, which is why it's so interesting that a new documentary will reveal something more about his personal life. The Perfect Shot tells the story of his fabulous career with the Dallas Mavericks, and we got a sneak preview before it hits the theaters in September.
Scenes from the life of one of basketball's greats. Dirk Nowitzki has been playing for America's National Basketball Association since 1998. The man with the perfect shot is feared by his opponents and worth millions of dollars to his team, the Dallas Mavericks. A German camera crew followed his life for 2 years, getting up close and personal with the game and the player. The end result previewed for the media on Thursday in Frankfurt. Nowitzki himself hasn't seen it. He says he has complete confidence in the director, even if it took him some time to warm up to the idea.
My first reaction was, are you kidding? I'm actually a pretty private person. I don't have to have everything displayed in public. And then the second thing I said was, my life is so boring. I just play a little basketball and then I go home. There's not much happening.
But the prize-winning documentary maker, Sebastian Denhardt, won him over. He had already made films on the boxer brothers Vitaly and Vladimir Klitschko.
We wanted to reduce it to a minimum, so we didn't have 5, 6, 7 people standing around in the shot. And that's what we did. We wanted to make it look like the camera wasn't there, and I think we did it.
Dirk Nowitzki's discoverer and mentor, Holger Geschwindner, plays a leading role in the film and in the star's life. His unorthodox methods have helped make Nowitzki a world-class player.
It's crazy, the ideas he has. When we started out, I was 15 or 16. I couldn't really figure out what he wanted from me.
Among the film's strong points are the friends and family who add their own perspectives. Dirk Nowitzki's wife, Jessica.
They sort of have this relationship where they understand each other without even talking to each other. There's many times when I've asked Dirk, what is, for example, when is Holger arriving or when is Holger leaving? And he has no idea. And I don't know, maybe they have their own language. I don't know.
Geschwindner himself initiated the documentary without even discussing it with Nowitzki in advance.
When I was playing basketball, nobody cared. You could send a postcard from Italy and it would arrive 9 months later. Now you get the latest information in 1 second. I think film is an appropriate medium to document his career, and I hope it'll be interesting in 10 years. He'll have something to show his kids.
It's a film about the fascination of basketball and a teenager who left Germany for the United States to play with the world's best. The film brings together superstars of basketball, old schoolmates, and many others to define the Dirk Nowitzki phenomenon.
What I liked most was that it's a really authentic portrait of Dirk. They only had a few days of shooting. It wasn't like they followed us around for 2 years, but they really captured the spirit of him as a person.
Now Nowitzki intends to watch the film for the first time with his fans at the world premiere on September 16th in Cologne.
And with that, it is time for us to sign off. So until we meet again, all the best from us here in summertime Berlin, and bye-bye.